Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Meticulous Talks on August 17th. I'm Chris, of course.
And I'm Hifrock.
Feeling okay, Hifrock?
Yeah.
Recovered?
Are you ready for Everfree?
I am not. I am not at all ready for Everfree.
Me neither. It's fine. It's only next week.
Only
but
next week. That's
That's
alright.
so close.
Another way of saying it, like 4 days? Because Thursday's a travel day.
Yes.
Saturday, yeah. 4.5. And the rest of today.
Pretty much, yeah. Are you excited?
I am excited. It's been, I think for a, because not everyone went to HithCon, so I'm pretty sure like at least a reasonable number of folks I haven't seen like since last Everfree. So very happy to get out there again.
Yeah, same. Gonna be a lot of fun.
And play with some of these awesome cards.
Yeah, I finally got my printed NG set like a couple of days ago. It's pretty good.
Yeah, mine has not come in yet.
I assume it's gonna happen soon since I got mine.
Oh yeah, it'll happen soon. It's just got a couple days, or else I'm playing with proxies. So we'll see.
Yeah. I still need to sleeve everything. That's gonna take forever.
Set aside a day for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much. But anyway,
yeah. Regardless of whether my cards come or not, there's one proxy I'm gonna have to use because of the changes that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah. So after the events of HithCon and the Coco event that went, Sim made a game time decision, an executive decision, that change was necessary. And 2 cards, one from New Generation, one from Prize Wheel, vanished off the horizon to be replaced immediately by reformed versions of themselves. I almost said better. They're not better, but reformed, yes.
Yeah.
And this, yeah. So this may end up being a bit of a shorter stream this week, because we're just going to talk about those two, and they're fairly straightforward changes. But I assume no one will begrudge us taking a slightly...
If you want content, go watch our previous stream.
Absolutely.
Which is, funnily enough, most of the ratings are not accurate anymore because we have changes in the card pool.
That's right. We are not liable for anything that happens as a result of you using those ratings anymore.
But yeah, it is like we haven't really seen anything like that before, right? When 2 cards are being, well, essentially changed 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before the big event. The major event.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of what was the quickest change after a set release. And I think that was Crystal Games with Spike. But that was sometime in the fall or winter, not right before a big tournament, I don't think.
Yeah. So those combo decks were pretty bad.
Yep. I only had the chance to play against DP's deck once. And I admit, yeah. Oh boy. But I mean,
It's very fast.
We played a couple turns and then, that's it. Game's over. Alright. Yeah. And I never got the chance to play against Bugle's deck, but I did have the chance to have old Shopkeep go off on me like a couple times. And yeah, it is.
I have never seen Shopkeep.
Well,
Never seen Shopkeep played. Like, not a single time. So maybe I'm lucky.
it's an experience. I guess you're just gonna have to not ever
Yeah.
have.
Well, we have the other Shopkeep.
I suppose, yeah. The card's actually it still has the same title, not the same subtitle.
Yeah.
So let's perhaps go and have a look at the two of them. All right. So we're starting off with Patch, our good friend over on the left, turning into Comet. Here to share. Everything is the same, except it exhausts when it removes the magic counter.
Which I think is how it should have been from the start.
Right, possibly, yeah. I mean, this certainly speaking for myself, this doesn't change the way the card would work in any. I don't think in any sort of normal usage of the card.
Yeah, you can imagine a scenario where somebody wants to replace two problems in one turn, right? But it's such an edge case.
Mm-hmm.
Without
Mm-hmm.
like most of the time, people want to replace just one problem.
Yeah.
And when you replace a problem, Patch goes home anyway. So the fact that, Comet, the fact that he is exhausted is not really relevant most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And certainly in my experience, you almost never had more than one magic counter on this card anyway. So, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's true for most magic counter cards. You try to not stockpile them. At least it feels like. Because, like, then
Yeah.
it's removed and it's pretty sad.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part, if anything, if there's ever more than one magic counter going on a thing, it's because you intend to use them right away.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So, kinda a little funny thing. What would you rate Comet?
It's a good question.
I still think it's like whatever rating I gave Patch, I still think Comet has the same rating.
Well, yeah, you weren't thinking. Yeah, if we're
Yes, I
ignoring
was
the
not.
yeah,
Yeah, I was ignoring combo. I would like, and it is essentially the same card.
yeah. It's sort of value rating has to be the same, I think, because it does basically the same thing it did before. Its meta rating probably goes down to like a 4 or something, probably. So I might have given it a 5 before. I made it a 4 now.
That's fair.
Yeah, as kind of you said, I think you make a pretty good argument that maybe it should have been this way from the start. It's a very nice surgical reformation anyway.
Yeah.
Just nips that one problematic deck in the bud and doesn't really change anything else about the way the card works as far as other decks that want to use it.
Yeah.
It does change traits up a little bit, actually. Perhaps I should have mentioned that. Card is also now an Aurora coin. Whatever that means.
Still a unicorn.
Yes.
Are all Aurora coins tagged as unicorns?
I think so.
I don't know if that's technically correct. Like,
I
it's
have
like tagging alicorns as unicorns,
I
because
have
we
no
have
ability to comment on this.
Like, are they really unicorns when they're their own thing? Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. It probably next, at the rate we're going, probably next stream I'll be able to say something intelligent
Yes.
about that. Probably.
Yes. Sure.
Um, but yeah, simple, straightforward. Probably nothing much more to say there.
Yeah.
The other one is a little bit more interesting, I think. The switch from Dodgy Shopkeeper Curio Collector to Dodgy Shopkeeper There's Always a Price. Same stat line, only now it accumulates counters on the card. So prior, there was this kind of fair question to ask actually where the state existed. It was just kind of floating modifier that checked global game state.
Yeah, well, prior, not really a floating modifier. It's more like when you activate the ability, it checked the history of the game, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas now it only starts sort of accumulating that history when the card comes into play.
Yeah.
And then you take 4 of them off, and now instead of getting 4, 4, 4, 4, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 of points, AT, cards, and counters.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting, honestly.
This means you can't chain them like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you have to collect counters individually. It is unique, so you cannot have more than one in play.
Yep.
But also, like, other than that, so that, like, that change by itself to counters is interesting because, like, it doesn't necessarily make the card worse because now you have the option of doing it over multiple turns.
Yeah. And when you do it over multiple turns, you don't necessarily have to do all the card types. You can do a friend and event, and then the next turn do another friend and an event, and that's still 4 counters.
Yeah.
So it is actually, I think, like a little bit. It has a bit wider appeal. Doesn't necessarily have to be in a deck that's got all 4 of the things in it.
Yeah.
Will still be a big removal target, and like the more turns you go through to get it up there, the more risk you're taking with that. But by the same token, you're probably not altering your game plan much now that I think about it, right? Like you play a 2-for-1 colorless, and then you play 4 other cards you're probably going to play anyway, and oh, hey, big reward.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just throw it in. Which is maybe why the stats were also nerfed. Because now you don't get 418 4 cards, you get 218 free cards.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And a point, though. Point's a pretty big
Sure.
deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this might arguably be a better card in terms of general value. It's missing the particular part that made it bad, which was the ability to, and by bad I mean too good, of course, the ability to chain them together. But it might actually be just better in general in terms of the value it gives you.
Yeah, probably. It's an interesting change to the card. It's not like the Comet change at all, patch change.
Mm-hmm.
Where that was just like one small change that doesn't affect anything. This is basically a rework of the card. Or reimagination, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kind of in line with what the sort of reform cards were when they first got started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, yeah, like I'll be really interested because, well, yeah. So Shopkeep, when it first came out, was not used by almost anything, right?
Mm-mm.
I still remember that argument we had when we were doing the initial review, and I said this card's incredible, and everyone's like, "Well, nobody plays it. How can it be incredible?" Um, and it was only used in the decks that did stupid things with it, basically. Um, and so now, hopefully, we have come to a place where you can't do the stupid things with it, but maybe more decks will use it just in general, which
Yeah,
would be great.
I think farm decks like this.
Probably.
That's my bet.
I think, well, yeah, like Unifarm would put this in, I think, pretty easily. The 4 flip.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can do troublemakers and events and such. Maybe it takes you 2 turns to pull it off, but like, whatever. You appreciate all of the things it gives you. Farm decks, of course, love that +1 power counter character in the same sentence thing. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Here I am thinking, how can you get more copies into play? You can do it.
Yeah, it's always been possible to get multiple copies of unique things into play. Just requires a lot of work.
Yeah, probably too much work. And it'll be like only getting 2 ET back. It's barely worth it.
Hmm.
Like if you're doing some shenanigans, you probably only really care about the, well, it scores a point, I guess. But can you do it 15 times for 280?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. You need to, like, I guess that is probably a something that's never going to happen. But in principle, you could save up 8 counters and then trigger it twice uh, on its own. That's that.
No, because you banish it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of, like, copies, because, like, banishing a token is like, yeah, whatever.
Right. Right.
You can, like, bring Shopkeeper back with easy.
Hmm.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting thought. Yeah, I need to remember Izzy exists all the time now.
It's a good card. It's just white is not a good color, again. It's
Again,
much better now, but, you know.
it is still so early in the set. Let's not say anything until
I
Bugle
will...
brings the white deck to Continentals and beats everyone, which is probably not happening.
Please make that happen. I dare you. Like, you see, now white is my thing because Pip.
Yep.
So now I will be advocating for white, even though I still think purple is the best color. But now I have a reason to advocate for white.
Yeah. But yeah, really, as you said, really cool update. Keeps the basic idea without um, losing its value. We did lose, unfortunately, the Frogrick meme. It's not a thing anymore.
I must have missed it.
Sorry?
I must have missed the meme.
Oh, you're not familiar with?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. It's a Simpsons thing.
Ah,
I
okay.
I'll after the stream today, I'll
Sure.
Um, which, yeah, speaking of after the stream,
Yeah, I think that's
unless
it,
there's
right?
anything else you wanted to say.
Nope.
So yeah, short and sweet today. We just had those two updates. I suppose in addition, Garbles the Dragon now. Worth mentioning that.
Oh
Maybe.
yeah, there were some small changes as well, but like yeah,
Couple little things.
fixes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Things that should have been, would have been anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brings us to Continentals next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You and I are both going to be there.
I wonder who will be commentating.
Yeah, I guess that hasn't been announced yet.
Don't think so.
I'm gonna be playing in the Naylander event, which is a whole other can of beans. We gotta build that deck too in the next 4 days.
Yeah.
Probably just gonna copy someone else's from the first time.
What did I play the first time? Was Nylander? At which con was Nylander?
It was BabsCon. Pretty sure.
This year?
Yeah.
I don't remember playing Nylander there. But let's find out. Where are the results? Because I don't even know what I played. Also, I don't remember you being at BabsCon. Like,
I mean,
it was 4 months ago, so like.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, and otherwise you would have had a deck already. That makes sense. Oh, there we go. That's results. Oh, I played Royal Tutor. How boring.
Oh yes, that's right. There was the game between you and Bugle.
Yeah, maybe me and Bugle played. I don't remember.
I remember seeing on the stream a purple versus purple match that was a lot of
Here's the catch.
tutoring.
Bugle played Luna. That's right.
Yeah. Just a lot of people searching decks for things, and then
Yeah, that's
how it ended.
true. Okay, the memories coming back. We had even a little discussion how we kind of went for the same deck idea, but we used different mains for it. Like I used Royal Tutor as my searching, and he used the purple Luna to search for events. And like searching for events sounds really good, yeah. But Royal Tutor is a little more consistent, I think. Yeah, I liked that deck. You should play that deck.
Yeah, I'm kind of just looking. I feel like because like yeah, my first conception of like what to do in Naylander was basically that. Yeah, tutor stuff. But I remember seeing like other people's decks and the results and being somewhat excited for what was done.
So my take on Nylander and like singleton formats is that you either play an aggro deck, which is good. Like there's there's just a lot of aggro cards, and you just throw all of them in. Like you're not in aggro decks, you don't rely usually on like specific synergies between specific cards, right? And that's why aggro decks kind of work good in singleton formats, I think, because like you just need consistently good cards. You don't need consistently specific cards. And for other decks, you kind of try to work around it with tutoring stuff or maybe drawing cards. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think in Naylander 2024, BabsCon, like the top decks were most of them were just aggro decks.
Well, okay. There's a lot of room there. Maybe I'll put some thought into it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, so yeah, there'll be Naylander, there'll be Core, Continentals, whole 9 yards, of course. Plenty of cards to watch. We'll see when the proper streaming schedule gets announced.
CCG panel.
That's right. There are multiple. Well, okay, there's like. We're not the right people to talk about this, I guess. There's going to be that history of CCG panel. That's going to get streamed, right? Probably.
Was the first one streamed? I'm not sure.
I think it. Oh, maybe not streamed, but recorded at least.
Probably recorded, yes.
Yeah. And then I guess if you're at the con, there's another panel that you're going to be on, right?
Yeah, it's the Our Place panel. Kind of unrelated to anything CCG. It's just me and Cheese and one other person, Coaster, talking about Our Place stuff, how we were managing it. Because we were running a lot of things in the last years of Our Place, and a lot of things that happened behind the scenes that many people are not aware of.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I didn't go to that. I've never been to that panel.
Yeah, it was the first time we did this panel was at Ciderfest. You were not at Ciderfest, I believe. And this time it's gonna be like it's not gonna be just the same panel. It's gonna be a little different. We're gonna focus on basically we're changing contents a little bit. It's gonna have the similar like theme, and some of the contents will remain, but not all of them.
Okay. Well, yeah, I might. Well, I mean, we'll see. From what I
It's right after CCG panel.
Yeah.
In the same room.
Yeah. I guess if that's the case, it's probably unlikely that I'll find something else to do. So.
Well, you might want to do food. That's one thing. Because otherwise, there's no time for food.
Yeah. We'll see, right? We'll see. I would encourage any folks who are there to check out at least something of that. And yeah, I will say nothing of my own schedule yet, I guess.
Makes sense.
Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our content for today. In 2 weeks, we'll have results from Everfree to talk about, so that'll be a lot, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, right, I should say, for here and for now, for anyone who perhaps doesn't pay attention to the announcements channel in Discord, concerning the Invitational, I know it usually happens right after Continentals. This year, it's not going to be the case. I already kind of said a bunch of places kind of when the year started, I thought that Continentals was going to be at Ciderfest. And so we kind of pushed things off, and the Invitational got scheduled for kind of January to March of next year, right after when Vancouver usually is. And that is just kind of a better time for everyone in general. Doesn't butt up against the holiday season. So that's what we're going to do.
Makes sense.
Yeah, if you're expecting Invitationals to start right away, they won't start right away. They'll be starting next year. And that's probably when they're going to run in general for the next few years at least.
Makes sense.
All right. So, with that out of the way, do you have anything else you wanted to add before we sign off, Ithrog?
Pip.
Pip.
Pip. Trixie.
So with that, thank you everyone for coming out and watching. Like I said, fairly short, but we'll have plenty more next time. Until then, I have been Cursor Chords.
I've been Hifrock.
We'll see you after Everfree.
Bye.